Hey, all right. Today we're going to read Emanuel's Dream, the true story of Emanuel Ofoso Yaboa. And I hope you love this story because I really did. It is written by Laurie Ann Thompson and Sean Quails. And I just want to take a moment because a good practice is to look at the cover of a book. And if it has a picture, which most books have some sort of picture, and you can sometimes see a little description, like we know that this is a true story about somebody named Emanuel. And to just kind of take a pause and think, what might this book be about? So I'm going to pause. You can hit pause if you want to do this and just talk amongst yourselves. What might this book be about? All right. So if you're back, so we see a boy riding a bicycle. And what do we notice about the boy's body? We notice that one leg he doesn't have the bottom part below his knee on one side. And he's riding a bicycle. He's wearing a helmet, safety first. And we notice palm trees. So we have a black boy riding a bicycle, and we see the sun and palm trees. So if we see palm trees, that tells us this story takes place somewhere warm. So you can think of some places where palm trees exist. Florida is one of them, and there are many other places around the world. So let's find out what the story is about. So there's the end pages. We have the dedication to who the author or illustrator wrote the book about. Then we have a cover page. Maybe this is Emanuel's mama. Then we have the table of contents. All right, so right away we know where this story takes place in Ghana, West Africa, which tells us they have palm trees in West Africa. In Ghana, West Africa, a baby boy was born. 2 bright eyes blinked in the light. 2 healthy lungs let out a powerful cry. 2 tiny fists opened and closed, but only 1 strong leg kicked. And so you can see the baby when he was a boy, or the boy when he was a baby. Most people thought he would be useless, which is horrible, or worse, a curse. His father left, never to return, but his mother had faith. Her name was Comfort, and she named her first child Emanuel, meaning God is with us. As Emanuel grew, Mama Comfort told him he could have anything, but he would have to get it for himself. So in some places, when somebody is born with a disability, and this is true, sadly, even today in some places, people think that the child is bad, or like in this case, a curse, and maybe they would abandon the child or give them away, or like in this case for Emanuel, his dad left. Fortunately, we as a world are learning more and more that having a disability, it doesn't change the fact that we are all people and we are all good inside. We all have goodness within us. And so thankfully, we are learning that more and more, and people with disabilities are being welcomed more and more into communities and workplaces and schools and our neighborhoods and among us as friends. So let's find out what happens with Emanuel. He learned to crawl and hop, to fetch water, that means to go get it, and climb coconut trees. He even shined shoes to earn money. Most kids with disabilities, a disability, I should have said, just means a condition where something is more challenging for you than it is for others. Something is harder because of a physical challenge or an intellectual challenge or a mental health challenge. So because of something different about a person's body or brain, things can be harder than it is for people who don't have that challenge. So like if I didn't have one hand, it would be more difficult for me to navigate in the world. But there are things I could do and I could learn to be successful, just like somebody who had two hands. Most kids with disabilities could not go to school. Still, Emanuel's mother carried him there until one day she said, "You are too heavy." So I wonder what happened next. From then on, Emanuel hopped to school and back 2 miles each way on one leg by himself. So if you have two legs that work and you walk quickly, it will take you about 15 minutes to walk a mile. That's walking at a pretty decent pace or a pretty decent rate. So he did that with one leg hopping to try to hop for just a few minutes across the room. And he did that for 2 miles. So if it would take us half an hour to walk with two legs that work well, and that's going pretty quickly, that's not like slow. I wonder how long it would take to do 2 miles hopping on one foot. At first, nobody would play with him. So Emanuel saved his money and bought something none of his classmates had, a brand new soccer ball. Of course, he would share it if he could play too. Lunging and spinning on crutches his grandmother had found for him, and kicking the ball with his good left foot, Emanuel earned their respect. They thought, oh, this boy can play. His new friends sometimes used their lunch money to rent bikes. Would Emanuel be able to join them? His friend, Godwin, pushed him fast so he could balance. Over and over again, Emanuel fell hard. But finally, what do you think is going to happen? That's called prediction. He rode, finally. When Emanuel was 13, Mama Comfort got very sick. She could no longer sell vegetables at the market, and Emanuel's sister and brother were too little to work. So here he is with his mama, who's very sick. He would have to support them. Against his mother's wishes, she did not want him to do this, Emanuel snuck out and boarded a midnight train to the bustling city of Accra, 150 miles away. That's about a 3-hour car trip. So he boarded the bus. That means he got on the bus 150 miles away alone. He did not know it then, but it would be 2 years before he saw his family again. You know how hard it is to be away from your family. Emanuel arrived full of hope. There were so many people, but no one would hire him. Shopkeepers and restaurant owners told him to go out and beg Shopkeepers and restaurant owners told him to go out and beg like other disabled people did. Emanuel refused. Finally, a food stand owner offered him a job and a place to live. When Emanuel wasn't serving drinks, he kept busy shining shoes. He earned money and sent it home. One morning, when Emanuel went to buy shoe shining supplies, the shopkeeper thought he was there to beg and scolded him, or yelled at him, told him to go away. Insulted, his feelings were hurt, Emanuel slammed his money down on the counter. The shopkeeper apologized, saying sorry, but Emanuel would never forget. He felt really crummy that this man assumed that because he had a disability, he wasn't as good as other customers. But that wasn't true, was it? When Mama Comfort grew sicker, Emanuel went home to be with her. From her bed on Christmas Eve, she told her son, "Be respectful, take care of your family, don't ever beg, and don't give up." By the next morning, Emanuel's beloved mother was dead. Oof. Ooh, that must have been hard. He was heartbroken, but he knew her last words had been a gift. Remember, her last words were, "Be respectful, take care of your family, don't ever beg, and don't give up." He was heartbroken, but he knew her last words had been a gift. He would honor them, that means respect them, follow them, by showing everyone that being disabled does not mean being unable. It was a big dream, but Emanuel had a plan. Emanuel had a sharp mind. He was smart, a bold heart, and one strong leg. All he needed was a bike. At first, no one would help. They thought his plan to bicycle around Ghana was impossible. Remember, Ghana is a country. Then Emanuel wrote to the Challenged Athletes Foundation all the way in San Diego, California. That's in the United States where we live. They sent him a bike, plus a helmet, shorts, socks, and gloves. Emanuel started training for the long ride. He persuaded the king of his region to give him a royal blessing. So he even went to the king. Remember, this is a true story. He even went to the king and asked him to give him a blessing, like a kind of like a, I give you encouragement. I give you hope. I am glad you're doing this. He went door to door asking for additional support. Finally, he hired a taxi to follow him with drinking water, a camera, and his best friends. Then Emanuel tied his right leg to the bike's frame, jammed his left foot into a flip-flop attached to the pedal, and rode. How do you think he does? Emanuel pedaled through the bustling city of Accra. He pedaled through rainforests, over rolling hills, and across wide, muddy rivers. He pedaled past oudum forests and plantain farms, and through the market city of Kumasi. He pedaled as trucks roared past on the narrow highways, and wild animals stalked his thoughts. He pedaled through vast grasslands and into the ancient city of Tamale. He rode up, down, across, and around his country, proudly wearing the colors of its flag on a shirt printed with the words, the Pozo, or the disabled person. So he was really proud of who he was. He was proud that he had a disability because that was a huge inherent part of him. And inherent means like, well, it just really means like part of, like it's going to be. And so he was proud of that. He was proud of who he was. And that's amazing and beautiful. Along the way, Emanuel talked to those with physical challenges and those without, to poor farm workers and wealthy landowners, to religious leaders, government officials, and reporters. He wanted everyone to see him and his disability. He wanted everyone to hear him and his message. The farther Emanuel rode, the more attention he got. Children cheered. Able-bodied adults ran or rode along with him. People with disabilities left their homes and came outside, some for the very first time. Remember, in his country, people who have a disability are often thought of as unhealthy, bad, a curse. And so for many of them, they kind of just stay kind of locked up inside. So some of these people came out for the very first time. And how inspirational was it to see somebody like them? Right? It's always inspiring to see somebody like us who has some of our same challenges being successful, accomplishing things. The young man once thought of as cursed was becoming a national hero. He completed his astounding journey, pedaling south to the sea and back up to Accra, nearly 400 miles in just 10 days. Holy moly, that is bonkers. He was riding 40 miles a day. But Emanuel's success goes even further than that. He proved that one leg is enough to do great things, and one person is enough to change the world. And here's a quote from Emanuel. It says, "In this world, we are not perfect. We can only do our best." And that's true for all of us, right? Nobody is perfect. We all have challenges, we all make mistakes, and we can just keep going and, doing the best that we can. And our best is always enough. And I love how the story says one person is enough to change the world. And that's true. We might not make giant changes, right? We might not be the president, but we can make changes within our community, within our neighborhoods, within our family by living our most generous, kind, gentle, loving lives. All right, and here's a note from the author. So this will give us more information about Emanuel. Emanuel still isn't giving up. Since completing his first long-distance bike ride across Ghana in 2001 at the age of 24, he has competed in major athletic events, won international awards from Nike and ESPN, and carried the Olympic torch in Cairo, Egypt in 2004. He starred in a documentary about his life called Emanuel's Gift, and he appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show. In 2006, thanks in large part to Emanuel's bike ride and his continued political activism, the Ghanaian parliament, that's like the government, like we have a Congress in our country, they have a parliament, but basically the same idea. The Ghanaian parliament passed the Persons with Disabilities Act, which states that people with physical disabilities are entitled to all of the same rights as the rest of the country's citizens, like to be able to go to school. I am very happy for my disabled brothers and sisters in Ghana, said Emanuel, but this is just the beginning. Today, Emanuel continues to work on behalf of the disabled. He maintains a scholarship fund to help children with disabilities attend school, and he helps organizations distribute wheelchairs to those in need. That's hugely life-changing. If you are unable to walk on your legs, and to get a wheelchair is hugely empowering, and it gives people so much ability to be mobile, to move around, to go places. In addition, he works closely with Ghana's government to pass laws protecting the rights of disabled citizens, and he speaks to political leaders, independent organizations, and school children around the world to deliver the message that disability does not mean inability. To find out more about Emanuel and his activities, including the progress of the school he is building for children with and without disabilities, please visit the Emanuel Educational Foundation and Sports Academy, EFSA, website at emanuelsdream.org, of course, only with permission. That is the end. And then we have some information about the author and the illustrator. And then one person can change the world. And here we see Emanuel hopping to school. And that is the end. I will find some maps so we can look at where Ghana is, where San Diego, California is, where Florida is. I think those are the places. All right. Have a good day. I hope you liked this.